Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are still unfamiliar, well, this is Hawk Tuah Girl. And this here, well, this is the soundbite that made her forever famous, or infamous.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
You gotta give him that Hawk Tuah and spit on that thing, you get me?
Yeah, that's all it took. That one sentence, said half jokingly on a Nashville sidewalk, well, it launched Haley Welsh from a complete obscure unknown into internet superstardom. For a few months there, she was an absolute moment. I mean, she went from being a factory worker to an overnight icon. And of course, when views are rolling in and you're as hot as hell, well, all of a sudden, the businessmen, they start to circle, and we get all sorts of things, including the merch, the podcast, the brand deals, and then the crypto. Yeah, where all good things seem to go and die. Now, one second, she was a beloved meme. The next, well, she was being accused of scamming her own fans. Now, this is the shocking story of how one viral clip, it became a brand, and how that brand almost completely unraveled. This is the rise and fall of the Hawk Tuah Girl. Now, Haley, I know what you've been through. I know when you blow up online, it's an absolute whirlwind. Everyone's watching, everyone wants a piece of you, and you gotta strike while the iron's hot. I mean, you wanna put away enough money to be set for life, but you also don't wanna be villainized, get canceled, so you're really walking a tightrope. Unfortunately for Haley, her rise was as meteoric as we've seen, but her fall, it was just as dramatic. And regardless how you feel, I know a lot of people, they lost their money, they lost their savings, they lost their trust in the internet. Regardless, you gotta feel a little bad for Haley Welsh. And in this video, I'm gonna take a deeper look into seeing if she was really the one responsible for everything that went down. So stick with us as we investigate. Chapter 1. Who is Hawk Tuah Girl? Now, Haley Welsh, she wasn't a clout chaser. She didn't really even have a YouTube channel. She didn't even have a TikTok following. She was just a regular girl working a regular job. Now, in Belfast, Tennessee, well, she actually worked at a bed spring factory where she clocked in 10-hour shifts. Now, she'd occasionally post selfies or tag some friends on Facebook, but nothing about her life screamed, I'm gonna be the next big viral star. And that's exactly why her moment, it hit so hard. Now, the internet, it didn't discover her, it stumbled into her. She wasn't performing, she was just being her true self. And that kind of fame, the raw, accidental kind, well, it hits a little different because there's no filter and no plan for what's to come next. Chapter 2, the viral explosion. Now, the internet, it did what it always does. It memed the moment into oblivion. I mean, I was there. I did a couple before they were famous videos on the girl. Anything you put her Hawk Tuah on, it was sure to go viral. The entire world was mesmerized. TikTok was flooded with remixes. People dressed as her for Halloween. That's truly when you know you've made it. Now, Hawk Tuah, it was trending on Twitter. Music producers, they were remixing it into songs. There were shirts, there were mugs, there were phone cases, and then there was her. Haley Welsh, a blue-collar worker, well, she was suddenly trying to navigate internet fame. And to be fair, she was pretty easy on the eyes. The girl's a blonde, she's, good to look at, so things were going smoothly. She leaned in, she launched her social accounts, she started selling Hawk Tuah merch. And before long, well, she had signed a deal with Jake Paul's media company, Better. And there she would launch her very own podcast known as Hawk Tuah. Chapter 3, branding a meme. Now, at first, the podcast, it seemed like a smart move. Now, Haley, she wasn't just trying to stay famous, she was trying to build something legitimate. Now, Hawk Tuah featured guests, jokes, a bit of personal backgrounds. I never really tuned into it. I think BB No Money was on there, or that was another meme. I saw a few faces, some big guests. So clearly things were working, right? And she was doing it out in Nashville. I don't know if there's that many out there. Theo Von's from there. I mean, she was the new kid on the block. And while it was clear she wasn't a seasoned host, fans, they love the authenticity. Anyone from any walk of life, well, they can blow up and become online famous. Now, she was still the same girl we had met on the street. She was still awkward, she was still funny, but behind the scenes, the world was changing fast. Now, she was getting brand offers left, right, and center. She was meeting agents, she was being pulled in 10 different directions, and that's when the big big opportunity came, and well, arguably her biggest mistake, it showed up on her front door. She opened the door. Chapter 4, the crypto scandal. The launch of $ Hawk, well, it looked like every other meme coin rollout. It was flashy, it was hype fueled, light on details, and well, you know, as typical, a pump and dump scheme. Except this one, well, it had a face people already love. Now fans, they wanted more Haley. They wanted to be Haley. They wanted her to spin on that thing. And that trust, well, it turned into them spending real money. Now thousands of people, well, they bought in during the first 48 hours of her coin's release. Now the market cap, it surged to nearly $500 million, even faster than Dogecoin's original breakout. Wow. But of course, there were a few red flags. No real roadmap, no people to keep her accountable. Haley herself, she even seemed confused, right? Now, I'm no financial advisor, but don't be trusting no ditzy blonde with your life savings, right? Now, when asked on a podcast to explain what the coin actually did, well, her answer was pretty vague. Now, less than a week later, well, the coin, it tanked hard, and the internet, well, it turned on her overnight. Twitter threads, they accused her of fraud. Reddit, they called it a rug pull. The FBI, they came a knocking on her door, and she was in some serious legal trouble. Then, of course, there was the social media slander. Now, I'm just gonna roll through some of the YouTube videos made in her name. Here we go. Another influencer scam. Hawk Tuah Girl stole from you, but the truth. And honestly, those are some of the nicer ones from people I don't despise. But having been someone who's been through a bit of this online hate myself, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and, well, say something that a lot of people aren't saying about Haley. The girl was, in fact, just the face of this. I mean, she wasn't the coder. She wasn't the founder. She wasn't even on the wallet contracts. She was a frontman or front woman, and she didn't know it until it was too late. Chapter 5, the backlash and burnout. Now, having Jake Paul sign you to his podcast network, that sounds great and all, but internet fame, it doesn't come with a guidebook. And Jake, he might know a thing or two, but he's too busy boxing Mike Tyson to hold your hand day in, day out. Another thing about becoming online famous, it doesn't come with its own legal team. It doesn't come with its own accountants. There's no one really looking out for you. When the getting's good and you're making a fortune, everyone's rooting for you. But when the chips are down, there's very few left in your corner. Now, it was hard on Haley. The girl was pretty lost. I mean, she had only been famous for 6 months? And, well, things were falling apart rather quickly. Now, she tried to apologize. She said she was misled, manipulated, and barely understood what she was promoting. No one wanted her, well, basically they were happy to see her fall, and they were blaming her no matter what she said. Her once fans, they lost respect for her. Her DMs, they were filled with threats. Her merch, it was getting hate bombed. Hawk Tuah, the whole show went offline without explanation. And Haley, well, she disappeared from the internet. Not because she was hiding, but because she was actually exhausted. Now, I think this is what they call burnout, and when the whole world's coming for you with pitchforks, well, yeah, you want to just lay in bed. So the same meme that made her famous, well, it was now the reason that people hated her. Chapter 6, the return and redemption arc. Now, after months in the dark, well, Haley re-emerged. Now, she quietly restarted her podcast. There was a new vibe, a new look, way more honest in terms of discussion. Now, she addressed the crypto mess head on. She admitted she was in over her head. And more importantly, well, the girl has stated that she's learned a lot. Hopefully more about finances and digital currency. And hey, I'm willing to give her another chance. Now, she said something simple but important. Not everything that looks like an opportunity is one. And with that, well, you can tell she's not trying to be a brand anymore. She was trying to be a person once again. And then she announced Hawk Tuah. That is a self-funded documentary about her rise, her fall, and what it really feels like to go viral when you're not ready for it. She really is like the biggest thing we've seen since Catch Me Outside. You know what I'm saying? And Bad Baby stretched that out for way over 6 years. Poor Hawk Tuah, she only got 6 months. So at the end of the day, Haley, well, she kind of didn't really scam the internet. In fact, fact, the internet, they kind of scammed themselves. It built her up off of a joke, turned her into a product, and blamed her when it didn't work out. Now, she wasn't perfect, but she wasn't the villain either. Now, in a world where we're all one moment away from going viral, well, Haley Welsh kind of became the crash test pilot. She showed us what happens when fame hits before you're ready and how fast it disappears when the crowd turns on you. But if nothing else, well, she'll always have that one moment, that one line, one sidewalk interview that made her unforgettable. And like it or not, you just Hawk Tuah'd your way through her story. All right, guys, my name is Michael McCrudden. It's good to be back. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're putting out new content with a new creative team, so you might find that these videos are a little bit better than the ones I've done in the past. I hope you guys enjoy this one. If you want to check out our merch line, go to beforetheyarefamous.com, subscribe, or if you're coming back, subscribe again. I'll see you guys in another video. Boom!